Welcome back to the channel. My name is Lisa Elvin Staltari, and as many of you know, I am a genealogist and a passionate traveler. For the last several years, I've been focusing on les filles du roi and les filles mariées. That is the subject of today's episode, Les Filles Mariées, episode 69. I can't believe we're here already. I think there's 262 of them. So we're going to be seeing each other a little bit more as the year progresses. Now, before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know: subscribe, like, and notify. The next three are ways to help the channel grow. Coffee and Patreon are external platforms that you can go on and subscribe at the amount that you would like. And then we also have the super thanks that YouTube permits. And we also have on my website, Have Roots Will Travel, we have a PayPal button. And by the way, don't forget the Have Roots Will Travel website for an index of all the previous episodes. So check that out if you would like to see other episodes that have come before. Before we get started, let's talk a little bit about Les Filles Mariées. This was a period between 1634 and 1662. These were ladies who came individually. Sometimes a few ladies would come on a ship, but by and large they were individual. They were not a part of a group. They were not signed by the government. They came of their own adventurous spirit and their need to establish their own lives. And the fact of the matter is, les filles mariées, the marriageable girls, as we call them in English, were about 10. They averaged about 10 a year. So that wasn't enough to really populate a country. And this is why les filles du roi eventually replaced these ladies. But ultimately, we owe a debt of gratitude to these filles mariées because they paved the way. Many of these filles mariées, their descendants would go on to either marry filles du roi descendants and intermingle, or alternative. And today we're doing episode 69, Jeanne Chotard of Les Filles Mariées. She comes to us from a viewer request. I do not have her in my files. So let's have a look at Jeanne Chotard's life. Jeanne was born in 1637 at Saint-Pierre-de-Laron. Her parents were Jacques Chotard and Suzanne Jabard. The church where she would have been baptized in, Saint-Pierre, dates from the 12th century. Now you can see that Saint-Pierre-de-Laron is an island, and it's a commune in the French department of Charente-Maritime, which is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine, but it's part of an island. It's actually, Saint-Pierre is considered as the largest city on the island, and it's the main city, and it dates from, the beginnings of it in 1152 to 1160, that Eleanor of Aquitaine introduced the first maritime or admiralty laws in that part of the world. The rolls of Oleron. In 1306, Edward I of England granted this island to his son, Edward II, as part of the Duchy of Aquitaine. So it's got this regal but very, very paradise kind of look to it. So really, really, I'm fascinated. I never knew before I did this kind of research that there was an island off the coast of France. So really interesting to study. And we have quite a few filles mariées and filles du roi who come from this part of France. So Jeanne would come to New France in 1662. Again, one of the latest filles mariées to come before the lack of program, which was replaced by the Filles du Roi program, official program in 1663, about a year later. So Jeanne would come to New France and seek, I guess, a new life. So the groom that she would select and who would select her, his name, Pierre Labrecque. And he was born in 1625 in Dieppe, France. His parents were Jacques Labrecque and Jeanne Baron. Now, the he is born in the parish of Saint Jacques. The church where he would have been presumably baptized dates back to the 12th century. Dieppe, of course, is known for the famous World War II battle, but it was first noticed as a village, a fishing village, in 1030. It became at one point the #1 fort in middle century France. Another claim to fame was its revered school of cartography in the 15th century. And two graduates from that school left for the New World and established the first French colony in that New World in 1564, Fort Caroline, which predates St. Augustine, Florida, if you can believe it. So that's amazing. See there, the French get around. They were married on December 27th, 1662 at Chotard. I can only imagine what the snowy day and how cold it must have been, but this is what they wanted. So she arrived in 1662 and was ready to get married. He had actually been there as of 1660, I believe, and actually had annulled a marriage to a fellow fille mariée, Gabrielle Barry, who we have not looked at. And interestingly enough, just was waiting for the right one and presumably found one in this wonderful lady named Jeanne. The family would settle on Île d'Orléans. Now let's talk a little bit about this amazing island. I just visited the island in 2023. Just amazing. For the very first time, even though I'm from Quebec, you know. And Île d'Orléans is located in the St. Lawrence River, about 3 miles east of downtown Quebec City. The island was one of the very first parts of the province to be colonized by the French, and a large percentage of French Canadians can trace their ancestry to the early residents of this island. It really is, kind of when you go there, a microcosm of what Quebec is. And this island was actually known as other things before. It was named after the son of King Francis, Henry, who was the Duke of Orleans. But originally it was known as Grande-Île, Sainte-Marie, Saint-Laurent for certain periods. And it's important to note as well, this little map in the center, that there are 6 parishes, if you will, on the island. So it's important to know where your family came from, which parish, and if they moved. I have ones that started at Saint-Famille, which was the oldest, and then made their way to Saint-François and that sort of thing. So it's important. So you have Saint-Pétronille, you have Saint-Pierre, Saint-Famille, Saint-François, Saint-Jean, and Saint-Laurent. These are all parishes found on the islands. See, here are some of the pictures I took when I was there this past summer. So it was just an amazing place to be. Now, 1666 census, we find Pierre and Jeanne. Now, you see that he's known as a matelot. That's a sailor. So that is how he made his living. Then we have Maître and Anne, their son and 6-month-old daughter. And then in the 1667 census, we have Maître and Anne, and they have 8 arpents manats, so about 6 acres of land on the island. And it's kind of interesting. Here he is from Dieppe, right next to the sea. She is from an island. Then they emigrate and they go to the Île d'Orléans. So it makes perfect sense. He would go on to have 4 children. Maître would marry Marie-Marthe Lemieux and have 13 children, 10 of whom made it to adulthood. Marie-Marthe's mother, Marthe Beauregard, is a fille du roi who we have not yet profiled. Anne would marry Gilles Laurent du Saint-Laurent and have 7 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. Pierre would marry Marie-Marthe Coulombe and have 6 children, all of whom would make it. Marie-Marthe's mother was a fille du roi, Jeanne Boucault, whom we profiled in episode 83. Catherine would marry Pierre Gagne and have 6 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. And then she would marry Clément Dubois and have 1 more child, and he would make it to adulthood. Clément's mother was Catherine Veillou, who we have not yet profiled. Now, you can note that we do not have a 1681 census, only for this family. Only Maître is listed in the 1681 census. He is working as a domestic in the household on the island. So, for whatever reason, they were missed in the 1681 census. Pierre would die sometime after 1694, around the age of 70. He and Jeanne would have been married over 32 years. Jeanne herself would die at the age of 74. She would leave a legacy of 110 descendants as of 1729. Research for you, Thomas J. Laforest's book, Our French-Canadian Ancestors. Just a tremendous resource, and you will find a lovely history of Pierre and his exploits on the sea and all of that in chapter 18. And I'm giving you the Facebook, because you can find this book possibly at a library, but it's very, very challenging. The easiest way is to look to join the Facebook group, Our Free French Canadian Ancestors, and you can download a copy of that file. And just a tremendous, tremendous resource that they've provided. So I heartily encourage you to join that society and get a copy, of your ancestors' biography, because it really is a lovely biographical sketch. And of course, if you go to the island, there's a huge monument. This is a picture I actually took this past summer. And this little book says Pierre Labrecque, Origine de Dieppe à Normandie, Saint-Laurent. Now, the fact of the matter is that where is Jeanne? Well, they weren't married, as far as I know, or she's not listed. So I was a little perturbed. But then I had taken all these pictures, and you can see Pierre Labrecque and Jeanne Chotard is there. And so this is kind of like a monument. When you stand there and you see that your ancestors were there and are on that plaque, there is something mystical that happens. You become part of it. And that's how I felt when I was standing there in front of that monument. I just felt their presence. I felt all those hundreds of years. So absolutely, if you have French Canadian roots and they go to in Dahlia, I would encourage you to absolutely go and stand in front of that monument. And just overlooking the St. Lawrence, I mean, it's just an amazing sight. As befits a very famous family, Labrecque, they have a wonderful association, Association de Labrecque. Please have a look at that, and I've provided the links for you as well. What a story. Jeanne is an amazing lady who came from an island and helped create a legacy on another one. The Labreques are an extremely prominent family. I myself have known many Labreques in my life, and they continue to multiply and flourish in Quebec and elsewhere. So we want to thank Jeanne for her contribution, for her sacrifice, and for her incredible determination to build a new life and carry on and leave a legacy, which she did. I also want to extend my thanks to my patrons, supporters, and viewers. Thank you so much for helping this channel continue to grow and flourish. I really, really think about you and thank you from the bottom of my heart. Until I see you on episode number 70, I will say au revoir until we meet again.